Did a Canadian trade show just reveal Germany's secret artillery in Ukraine? In January 2025, Germany formally handed Ukraine the first of 54 RCH-155 self-propelled howitzers. Then, the system more or less disappeared from public view. No photos, no footage, no Ukrainian gun crew posting selfies in front of it, just silence. While the Germans and KNDS worked through training, testing, and integrating the system with Ukraine's battle management software. That silence just ended at a trade show in Ottawa. 2 weeks ago at CANSEC 2026, the Canadian branch of General Dynamics Land Systems unveiled a new 155mm self-propelled howitzer for the Canadian military. They called it the Grizzly LAV. Grrr. And in their official description, they called it the artillery module at the center of it, combat proven. Now, that word choice matters because the only place that artillery module could have seen combat is Ukraine. So either someone in marketing got careless or Germany's most interesting artillery system just quietly announced itself from a trade show floor in Canada. Hey friends, I'm Wes O'Donnell, defense journalist, Army infantry veteran, Air Force veteran. Here's what happened at CANSEC. GDLS Canada unveiled the Grizzly LAV, a new 10x10 wheeled self-propelled howitzer built around Canada's existing LAV chassis, paired with the KNDS 155mm artillery gun module, the same unmanned automated gun turret used on Germany's RCH-155. In their press release, GDLS described the module as a combat-proven, fire-on-the-move KNDS 155mm artillery gun module. That's combat proven. That's a specific marketing claim, not a throwaway phrase. Defense analysts published precisely those words because those words sell systems to procurement officials. So the question Defense Express immediately asked, and the question this video is asking, is proven in combat where? Switzerland is testing a variant of this gun module but hasn't been in combat. Germany's own RCH-155 fleet is being delivered to the Bundeswehr and hasn't deployed to any active conflict. The UK just ordered 72 systems in May of 2026 at a cost of around £1 billion. Ha! Congrats, Your Majesty! With first deliveries not expected until 2028. None of those users have had a war to test it in. Ukraine has. What do you think, buddy? Are you scared of this artillery? Oh, he's gonna cry. Don't cry. Just cheer up. It's okay. This guy right here, things have not been going good for him in Ukraine. Tell the nice folks watching from home that you're gonna be packing it up pretty soon. Okay, let's get this guy out of here. All right. Ukraine was supposed to receive 54 RCH-155 systems ordered starting in 2022, with formal handover of the first unit in January of 2025. And by March of 2026, more than 600 Ukrainian soldiers have reportedly been trained on the platform. 600 trained operators is a lot of trained operators for a system sitting in a German depot waiting to be ready. So why did it take this long? Well, because to be fair, there's a real reason the RCH-155 didn't appear at the Ukrainian front immediately after the handover ceremony. The system had to be modified. Ukrainian crews trained on it, gave feedback, KNDS had to resolve technical issues that came up during that process, and critically, the RCH-155 had to be integrated with Ukraine's Kropiva battle management system for artillery, which is the digital brain Ukraine uses to coordinate fire missions, track assets, and connect artillery to drones, forward observers, and command posts. Kropiva is like the Delta system, but for artillery. A modern automated howitzer without integration into Ukraine's command and control architecture is essentially an expensive German robot waiting for the right tablet. Defense Express reported in August 2025 that Ukraine was still several months away from having combat-ready RCH-155 systems because that integration work was ongoing. So the silence after the January 2025 handover wasn't suspicious, it was the actual work. But that work takes months, not years. So 600 trained soldiers and a combat-proven claim from a trade show floor, well, that math points somewhere. As an infantryman calling for fire support, you develop a very specific relationship with artillery. When it's working, it's the thing that changes the conversation entirely. When it stops, usually because it had to move to avoid being killed by counterbattery radar, that's a gap. and sometimes that gap is fine, but sometimes that gap is the worst few minutes of your day. On this battlefield, that gap has gotten shorter and more dangerous. Drones spot gun positions, Lancets and loitering munitions hunt them, counterbattery radars everywhere. A Ukrainian gun crew fires, and from that moment, they're in a race between their displacement speed and the Russian revenge. The whole doctrine of shoot and scoot was always about that race. The RCH-155 is built around the idea that you can change the terms of that race entirely, not by scooting faster, but by not fully stopping in the first place. So let me explain what I'm actually talking about, because the RCH-155 is genuinely different. It sits on a Boxer armored vehicle chassis, which is a modular 8x8 wheeled platform already in service with several NATO armies. The gun itself is an unmanned, fully automated 155mm module with an L52 barrel, which is the longer, higher velocity configuration used in most modern Western artillery. 2 crew members operate the system from inside the protected hull, not standing next to the gun. Loading is fully automated. Gun lane is fully automated. The fire control system calculates the solution digitally. With conventional ammunition, it fires to ranges around 30 kilometers. With extended rounds like Excalibur, that ceiling climbs toward 54 kilometers. It carries 30 fused projectiles in its combat load, ready to fire in rapid sequence. And the detail that sets it apart from most of its competitors is fire on the move. The system can lay the gun, compute the fire mission, and engage a target while the vehicle is still moving. Or at a minimum, it can be moving again almost immediately after the last round leaves the barrel. The time between fire mission received and the gun is somewhere else collapses dramatically. In this war, drones relay gun flash locations to strike teams within seconds of the shot. That collapse in exposure time is not a comfort feature, it's a survival feature. Now, let's be honest about what one phrase in a press release does and doesn't prove. Combat proven from its marketing document is not the same as confirmed battlefield record. There is no public photograph of an RCH-155 on Ukrainian soil. No video, no OSINT track. Ukraine keeps some of its most sensitive Western systems deliberately quiet, and Germany has been cautious about the publicity around deliveries. So the Defense Express inference is strong, but it's still an inference. There's also a narrow alternative reading. The KNDS artillery gun module has been through extensive live-fire testing in Germany and potentially trials in other countries. A manufacturer might call a system proven based on qualification testing rather than actual combat use. Unlikely phrasing for a marketing document, but possible. It's also worth remembering that formally handed over in January 2025 didn't mean physically fighting in January 2025. The handover was just a legal transfer. The combat readiness timeline followed months later, so the 600 soldiers training figure and the August 2025 several months away report together suggest readiness arrived sometime in late 2025 or early 2026. Whew. Not at a handover ceremony. The honest conclusion is this: the RCH-155 is probably in Ukraine and probably in use. We don't have public proof. The trade show hint is the strongest signal yet, but the deeper story isn't the mystery, it's what the system, confirmed or not, represents. This is far more than an artillery delivery. This is one of the first serious tests of the next artillery doctrine. For most of this war, the survival equation for Ukrainian guns has been displacement speed versus counterbattery speed. Fire, move faster than the Russians can respond. The RCH-155 changes that equation structurally. Fewer crew means less exposure time during setup and teardown. Full automation means less time between rounds and less time in position. Fire on the move means the gun is potentially already leaving before the round lands. The question is whether that design philosophy survives contact with the actual Ukrainian battlefield. Whether fire on the move is a genuine tactical revolution or a trade show phrase that meets reality somewhere east of Kharkiv and starts sweating, well, that's what Ukraine is going to find out, and probably already is. And Ukraine won't be finding it out alone for long. The UK just ordered 72 RCH-155 systems for roughly £1 billion, with deliveries running from 2028 to 2032. Germany is buying 84 for its own Bundeswehr. Switzerland has its own variant on a Piranha chassis. The Swiss Piranha. That would make a good video. Where were we? Canada just showed up at the KNDS module family at CANSEC with the Grizzly LAV. The artillery module at the center of this is becoming a NATO artillery standard, not a boutique Ukraine procurement story, which means whatever Ukraine proves or disproves about this doctrine is gonna matter for every one of those buying countries. Ukraine is the testbed, and the armies placing orders are watching Germany's most automated howitzer that may already be hunting Russian gun positions somewhere in a country that's become the world's most consequential artillery laboratory. We don't have proof of that yet. We have a trade show, 600 trained soldiers, and the logic of a delivery timeline that ran out of reasons for the system to stay home. Now, Ukraine has a habit of quietly fielding things before the press conference catches up. The RCH-155 would fit that pattern perfectly. And if it is there, if fire on the move works the way the doctrine says it should, a lot of Russian counterbattery radar operators are going to spend the next several months very frustrated. They'll see the flash, they'll calculate the position, they'll launch the strike, and the gun will already be long gone. That's the design, and Ukraine is finding out if it's real. That's it for today, my friends. If you want to follow this story as it develops, hit subscribe. When the first confirmed footage of an RCH-155 in Ukraine appears, and it will, I'll have the breakdown ready. And for the longer reads, the ones that go deeper than a video allows, I'm over on Substack, QR code on the screen, or just go to wesodonald.com. And as always, glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. Crimea is Ukraine.